since an entire season is about to start, I'm curious if there's anything about this year and this team that's sort of unique in terms of like a theme or something that the team is focused on, or has been a message that's been sort of harped on about the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit on it when you began that question with just taking everything one practice, one game at a time. Obviously, that's a football cliche, but that's something that we've really harped on since April. And what makes this team unique? There's a lot of things that actually do, but like I said a couple weeks ago, the depth of this team is the deepest I've ever been on. So I think just a mixture of depth and really taking things one step at a time, like you mentioned, is kind of what this team is focused on thus far.
I try to take it one story at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, transcends everything.
Do you feel like you caught George's eye last year doing what we saw you could do when you had chances at Notre Dame, but catching higher volume of passes? I think like 26 to 29 targets you caught last year. Has that, do you think, left an impression where you hope and might be more involved in the passing game?
Sure. I mean, I hope so to an extent. I just try to be reliable. When the number is called in the run game, in the pass game, special teams, just get your job done. That's kind of how I've been and throughout my football career. And if it's more looks in the pass game, if it's more blocking power in the run game, whatever it is, I just want to get the job done.
The last time you guys played the Patriots, you played in that game, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't look it up. Like I should have.
Yes.
You guys ran for a lot of yards. So what are some of the things that were successful in the run game that you would sure like to see repeated?
Sure. I mean, I think we had a good plan, obviously, but I think, all of last year we were really harping on being more physical as an entire team, and that's what sets the pace in the run game really specifically. That's something that we've worked on extensively through this preseason. It's something that we touched on the first day of pads. That's something that we've really tried to improve on since the beginning of last season. So I think if we can continue on the upward trend in terms of being more physical, obviously there's going to be good game plans every week from the coaches, but the physicality, as long as that's tuned up, we'll be able to run the ball.
I wanted to ask you this question, as I'm always curious, the guys that are up on contract years.
Sure.
How tough is that to put it out of your mind, like my NFL future rides on this season?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, you hear guys talk about that, all the time. Ever since my rookie year here, you hear guys talking about, contract year this, contract year that. But, I mean, I really haven't thought much about it. I didn't even think, going into it, I thought I probably would. 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, I'm going to be nervous going into that. I haven't thought about it at all, really. So I think that's kind of naturally been nice for me. And, like I mentioned before, there's all the football cliches of taking things one step at a time, and, it'll eventually lead to something else. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on, and I think to this point it's just kind of been natural. If there's so much to focus on, it's kind of hard to focus on something like that.
You had a glimpse of this in the Atlanta game, obviously, but are you kind of excited to see what this offense looks like? Obviously, it won't be Will Fuller Sunday, but you'll have Jalen, Tua, obviously an improved player, new coordinators. Is that kind of exciting to see what this looks like on the field in a meaningful game?
Yeah, I mean, it's always exciting, at the beginning of a new season to kind of see an offense take an identity. And there's obviously more dynamics this year in terms of the speed that we added to this team. And like I said, harping on physicality. So there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to, just kind of in terms of developing an identity. That's something that takes a whole season to really master. But it's always fun at the beginning of the year because that's where it really starts.
What is it about Godsee that you think will enable him to excel in his new role?
Yeah, I mean, he's been great for us personally, the tight ends, the last 3 years, because he teaches from an entire playbook-based approach. So, he's not just coming into the tight end room and teaching us what we need to do. It's, this is what the quarterback's reading, this is what the receiver's doing, the running back's scanning, whatever, this way to that way. So I think that's helped us a lot in terms of the tight ends. And, you could see it 2 years ago that he has a grasp on this entire offense. He can coach any of the positions that he needs to. So I think having everybody on the same page in terms of what the guy next to you is doing, I mean, that adds a lot, and it allows an offense to mesh, I think, incredibly well.
You mentioned depth earlier. How well suited do you feel in the event where Adam Shaheen is unavailable, and just having the numbers you guys have in the tight end?
Yeah, I mean, from a sheer number standpoint, we kind of are lucky this year because we have obviously a larger number than we've had in the past. And like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think this room is the deepest I've ever been a part of. So I mean, it would take something serious to get our room hurting. I think 4 of us would probably have to go down. So, it's always the next man up mentality, and we're confident with everyone in the room, and we can honestly say that. So I think we obviously wish him the best, but I think we'll just keep rolling.